Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast. Worst of 2025. It is happening. We finally found the time
Halfway into
and energy. Almost exactly halfway.
Okay, so June's like the halfway mark, right? And we're recording this on June 14th, so I would say it's literally at the halfway point.
A new record for us. It's always been late, but usually
Last
February.
time I think we did it in like April or May.
So yeah, who knows? And then
we did it in March for sure.
But you know, when everyone else's worst stuff are out, sort of the market is flooded with it.
It's actually a tactic.
We wait until nobody else is doing it, and then it looks fresh.
Yeah.
So we are back down in the basement. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of things. The format of this, I think we've decided upon because you put in way more work than I do on this. So
this is where I actually do the legwork.
It's going to mostly be you. I'll go over the category and maybe last year's winner. Did you include that?
Yes.
I didn't look. And then you'll do nominees, give your pick, and I'll go after your pick because sometimes I'm just like, he said it all, right? And I agree. So I don't know. Let's jump right into it, I guess. You like to start out with, and we should clarify.
I did most of these.
Rosters are combined, kind of, right?
We just separate men and women for most things.
And because we don't watch a ton of WWE.
You more than me, obviously, because you watch NXT regularly, but especially in 2026, I've checked out even 2025, but that was the year I started checking it.
Right. So they may be underrepresented here or over. I don't know. I don't even remember.
In this case, they might be overrepresented because this is where I tend to chime in on them.
I made my pick so long ago and haven't looked that I have no idea what I have. So I'm kind of interested. I'm going to go over mine to my own notes cold and we'll see what happens. But yes, you like to start out with some honorary awards speed round.
I forgot I did. It's been a while, so I forgot which ones I've done or what I picked for certain things. Anyways, okay, first one is one of my favorites is worst ring gear was Jey Uso. He's still doing it now. He's like wearing shorts. It was various times, so I didn't pick any specific ones, but him and like his baggy shorts and I don't like it. It's terrible. And I honorable mention to Kale Dixon's half tights because that's just a terrible look anytime anyone does it.
Where is Kale Dixon?
I don't know.
He's cool.
Hopefully getting the other half of his pants back.
Maybe, yeah.
Biggest hypocrite, CM Punk going to Saudi, obviously. Worst booking decision was Jay winning the Rumble. Hated that.
Yep.
I said honorable mention Cena's heel turn. I don't know if that was the worst booking decision. It was just terrible how they followed up on it, which we'll get to. Worst return, redacted Mr. Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Honorable mention to Wardlow at Forbidden Door, though, just because I hate him. Even though the return itself wasn't terrible, I just didn't want him back. Gimmick infringement award, Jasper Troy carries chains and uses the Black Hole Slam. Total Bella Bomb, Nikki Bella's crappy return run last year, which you hated.
I did.
Worst entrance, I remember this one off was Swerve Strickland Revolution with the live drummer. That was terrible.
And we love Swerve.
Worst promo line, Cutler James says Darkseid is up Hank and Tank's butts from NXT August 5th last year.
Cutler James is a gem on the mic, I will say that.
Worst character change was New Catch Republic going to Los Americanos. That I will still stand on that. Not a criminal to Khan, I wrote in brackets Nick, was again Lesnar returning at SummerSlam because it was something about like his case being not a criminal suit, I think.
Yeah,
it was
civil.
Like it's okay.
Yeah.
Worst ad was the SummerSlam Pizza Hut ad with like various heels and faces and Nikki Bella.
It was terrible.
I don't remember like specifically what it was, but it was awful.
It was.
Worst belt was the Evolve Championship, the men's and women's. I've oddly somewhat come around on these belts since then. Like they still have a really weird shape, but it's just like I do like that it's just really specific to Evolve.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it is kind of ugly, but it's also not the worst thing I've ever seen now. I don't know. But I'm not going to change it now.
It's been probably 6 months since you did this. So
yeah, at least. Old Man Shill, Bubba Ray Dudley. He's just, some of the things he says, I'm like, I hate you. Def Rebel Dud was Jordan Grace trading her TNA theme for Win by Def Rebel, which is generic garbage. Long-term Triumph, which was A-Town Down Under dissension drags out for months and months on end. Theory gets injured. Waller mentions it once, moves on.
Yeah, exactly.
That was great. Biggest disappointment, Division, obviously. I think that one holds even more true this year, but even at the end of 2025, it was, Lesnar returns to SummerSlam again, but this one I called it Morals of Sand.
Nice.
Boy Who Cried Wolf Award, which is Triple H proclaiming a new era for about half the PLEs and Raws for the year. He's still doing that.
Is that his thing? Yeah.
Yeah, he's
his
like,
gimmick.
This is the start of a new era, and it's just like the same old bullshit. And I don't know.
Remember when the general manager was us? Remember that?
We were the authority.
That's right.
Yeah. Main event mistake was Mox versus Copeland from Revolution last year. This is an AEW show. That was not a good main event.
I don't remember, but I trust.
Remember, it was the one where Moxley and Copeland just didn't have it was just kind of a crappy match.
Yeah.
And it came right after the Omega Takeshita May Storm Ospreay Fletcher match run.
That would be tough.
Yeah,
Tough spot.
I don't think it was like I think it was one of their worst main events, anyways. Which again, pay per view main events they're a high standard, but I think it was one of their worst, anyways. And then also it followed like a great 3-match parlay there. They were champion question mark award goes to Shinsuke Nakamura as U.S. champion last year.
I
Remember
could
that?
forget he's employed, to be honest.
Yep. Who needs morals when we got money award? WWE sponsoring Usos versus Breaker and Reed WrestlePalooza with that fake EMF nonsense.
Oh yeah.
That. Worst champion, Jey Uso is world heavyweight champion, obviously. The Unity Award goes to AEW creating the Unified Championship, only to split it in a weird way in the C2. That one was bad. The Why Did We Repackage Them Award, Shinsuke Nakamura as a samurai that was never explained or used.
Wasn't he kind of cool for a half a second?
I thought
there?
it was cool, but then they never did anything with it, and also never explained why he's just like this spooky samurai now.
Yeah.
They called him like the Wayward Samurai. I'm like, okay, why? Worst celebrity appearance, Travis Scott in general, but we give an honorable mentions to that one basketball lady at AEW Revolution. She was like,
oh yeah, what did she
like,
say?
It was something about like it being fake. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some weird shit like
she
that.
exposed the business in her like 5
weird.
seconds she got on the mic.
That one was rough, but Travis Scott was worse. Breaking Point Award is Snap into a Slim Jim table. Honorable mention to the Fireball ladder.
All the sponsorship.
Here Comes the Money Award. WWE announces Royal Rumble 2026 and WrestleMania 47 in Saudi Arabia, getting paid $350 million to run those shows. And then finally, Rest Hold of the Year, aka the worst spot, was that one Dark State fumble in that match with the Hardys at the NXT TNA show.
What happened again?
I don't know. It was something like they missed a leg drop and Osiris Griffin botched like taking something like it was really bad.
It was. I remember I watched that as well and laughed pretty hard.
It was pretty funny.
All right, so now we get into our official awards for 2025, and they correspond with our best of, right? So if you haven't checked that out,
usually try our best.
or if you forget what we said from back in, when we probably got that one.
We did that
quickly.
one. I know we did that before I went back, so because that one's fun.
So they
This
all
one's less fun.
align. It's just the inverse, reverse, opposite, whatever the right.
I think it's inverse.
Okay, I like
Because
it.
reverse is like going back.
True.
So like inverse, I think is
True.
opposite.
We'll go with that.
We got it.
This one, if you listen to us at all, you know this already.
Pretty sure it's been the same 2 nominees for maybe the entire time we've done this.
We'll just name it after him at some point if he ever
Booker
doesn't
T
get
Memorial Award.
It is worst commentator. So 2024 winner was
Booker T.
Yeah, from both of us.
And he's here with Pat McAfee. It's pretty much always them.
I don't really dislike anyone else that much.
Me neither.
Starting to JR, but he's so insignificant.
He's barely there, and
He
also
doesn't
again, like
rate.
he's not actively like terrible.
And I feel kind of mean too because
Yeah.
he's just an old dude.
Yeah. I don't watch either of these guys on the regular yet. The category always seems to come down to the 2 of them because, like you said, like there's no one in AEW I even like hate on commentary.
Mm-hmm.
I just have my preferences, but with these 2, it's like much like how it always boils down to being Excalibur for the best. It's gonna be Booker T here. He's around more consistently than McAfee, so that's what really gets him here. They both have their annoying bits and phrases, but Booker T has more of them, and he's also weirder about them. Also, hearing you complain about him so much helps me with this one. But it's also just like the weird things he does, like Vaquer and like just with half the women, like Lola Vice, and like, it's just weird.
But then tells Nikita Lyons to be less sexy.
It's
even though he objectifies women 30 years younger than him, at least. So
God.
yeah, it's Booker
he's
T.
old now, so
this is the Booker T award, and it's that what I call like using his sound effects to get people over. There's a couple more examples I'll have to make note of now, but he's doing with other people as well.
Yeah.
So he's the worst. He adds nothing. He makes the show worse every single week.
Mm-hmm.
So he wins easy.
Yeah.
Next category. You put a lot more thought in this than I. But
this one was difficult because, again, with not watching WWE a lot, I'm not as invested in their music.
It is worst theme song, but I feel like you hear about them through the grapevine
I do,
somehow.
and yeah, I'll usually see entrances, or I do tend to check out a lot of the ones when they release them on Apple.
Yeah.
But like even still, yeah.
Last year's winners?
It was DIY for me, which I remember their Babyface theme song was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I really love their heel song, which sucks because they never ended up releasing it. And then yours was Mercedes Moné, which in hindsight, that was also a really good pick because I hate her theme song. I just add to the shortlist for 2026, her new theme song is also terrible, and dare I say it's worse.
That's what I was just going to say. So my 2025 worst theme person came back with a theme I like less than the one that won worst of. So she's almost a lock for 2026.
Moné?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I obviously hated this one, and I think I like the new one less.
Yeah, like so because that would have been your 2024 one then technically.
So if you can bet on our stuff in Vegas, which I'm sure you can.
Yeah. It's up and the odds are there.
We're that big.
Okay, I'll tell you this much. It's the only one in my shortlist for this year that I have as a worst theme song. For best theme song, I have like Kit Wilson, Champa,
Champa.
Gargano's theme coming back, Austin Theory's theme. It's not here, but I would probably put the Dogs theme song. Like, I have a bunch of theme songs I really liked already. Yeah, like just to, I mean, it doesn't matter because everyone's gonna forget by the end of the year. My nominees for best theme song this year so far are Kit Wilson, Garcia, Champa, Gargano, Theory, Clark Connors, and the Dogs. Whereas the only theme song I thought of for worst of this year so far is Mercedes Monet's new theme.
She's a front runner.
It's terrible. And like, I don't, AEW usually puts out really good theme songs, I think. So, anyways, the nominations for this year are the Sons of Texas mashup theme, where it's like mashing Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara's theme. Just terrible.
Oh, I remember. I went and specifically listened to all of them off your non-recommendation.
Glamorous Forever, Blake Monroe. I really hated it. Now it's like, I still don't like it because I just don't like Blake Monroe. Like, I want Mariah May. But as I think I see you mentioned in your thoughts, it does suit that character.
It does.
I just don't like the character,
That's
so
fair.
it's there. Win, Jordan Grace, the most generic Def Rebel tripe ever.
Super bad.
The Visual, which is Lena Vega's theme. I don't even fully remember it. I just remember it sucks. And La Mas Ruda for Raquel Rodriguez. I actually don't remember this one either. I just know I just remember looking through Def Rebel's output last year and then nominating
as
that were terrible.
As one does.
Well, because like I knew there's gonna be some stinkers in there. Because everyone used to like they got Def Rebeled as like
a verb.
That's you got a shitty theme song that was way worse than your other one. I think they even say that to someone who, even if their first theme was Def Rebel, it's like, oh, if you get a worse one, you got Def Rebel. Well, I think it's funny because like you have guys like Gunther or just Chad Gable brought back the American Alpha theme. You have guys going back to prior themes, or in Gable's case, a CFOS theme, because they were the ones running music before Def Rebel. So I do think it's interesting. Honorable mentions the Blake Monroe theme. I hated it because it's just, I just went over that. I don't need to go over it again. And Jordan Grace's theme is so generic, but it just doesn't leave an imprint other than being bland garbage for me. I have to pick the Sons of Texas theme song because I don't know if they debut in 2025. They're on Ring of Honor most of the time, but it's the first time I heard it, so we're gonna allow it just because it's so terrible. I like Guevara's theme by itself. Like, he's had pretty much the same theme for most of, if not all of his AEW run, and I like it. It's like, I think it's some rapish one by Montezi, I think it is. It's solid. And then Dustin Rhodes has that Brain Stew ripoff.
Oh, yes, he does.
But now it's got like the Gold Dust ripoff intro, so it's like a double ripoff.
Nice.
I remember when he first had that theme song, it was like the most blatant Brain Stew ripoff I've ever heard.
Nice.
It was actually like, it was terrible for that reason, right? And then they mashed it off together, and it's like, it's so terrible because it doesn't work. It honestly felt like the theme song equivalent of that Swerve entrance, where like the live drums don't fit his theme song. It's like the Montezi rap with Dustin's Brain Stew ripoff bull crap is like, it doesn't mesh at all. Like, I remember because we only heard it because they were challenging the Hurt Syndicate and Double or Nothing. So I only ever heard it on TV once because why else would we?
And it's kind of lazy. It's a WWE move.
It was really lazy, and it wasn't even good. There are good mashup themes. It's possible. I've seen some people make like mashup themes just for fun on YouTube. Like, I remember one I heard was, you remember Gargano's Babyface theme? Like, I was just watching Cole Gargano yesterday, right? That theme song mashed up with AJ Lee's theme song. It's awesome. It's so good. But like, it just does, it meshes terribly here. Like, it's such a clash. I literally wrote, I didn't even realize, I wrote this at the end. It reminds me of the live drums on Swerve's theme song. Like, it was terrible. I heard it one time and I still think about how bad it was. So I'm like, for your usage to terrible ratio, it's at the top.
So I went a different route, and I remember my method was I sat with good headphones, like better than these probably actually, and listened back to back to back. And Jordan Grace's was, I thought, the worst, just like the most generic, repetitive. I thought like video game vibes to it. And at least Monroe suits her character, and Sons of Texas is awful. But like Grace's, I remember listening and just being irritated by listening to it. So she won. And I like her, and I had no problem with her previous theme. So
her old theme song was cool because it didn't have like the Scott Steiner kind of siren-ish kind of bit to it, I'm pretty sure.
All right, next category was one of I think the easiest one. I don't know if they're any easier than this for me. It is worst entrance. Last year, won by...
Rhodes. Last year, we say 2024.
We agreed.
We took Cody Rhodes.
Sorry. 2024, we both agreed Cody Rhodes. This year?
This year, Cody Rhodes is there. Then we have Jey Uso and Dark State. Dark State, I think it's like, it's not the worst thing ever, but it's like...
It's pretty cheesy.
It's pretty cheesy, and it's such so clearly Shield ripoff.
And once you've moved past like who are these guys, and they're like just another faction too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, they're coming in through the crowd and they're crazy, and now it's just like they're just another group. They're the culling. They're
Yeah,
anything.
even if you knew who they were, it's like if you did the presentation better, I feel like there's a way you could keep the crowd entrance and still make it cool.
I wonder who won this.
I wonder. Oh, and then yeah, wait, no, I mentioned it's Jey Uso. Never mind. But yeah, I did pick Jey Uso.
How do you not?
I don't know how you don't, because my thing is too. We picked Cody the year before because his entrance gets so drawn out and melodramatic and self-indulgent, and it was terrible.
Yes.
I'm sure it still is.
I don't see it, so I can't imagine it's not, because that is him.
But Jay, it's so lame and indulgent of mind-numbing idiocy. Like, it's treading on a dead meme still. That's just abysmal to me, and it's worse now that he does a run it back. So now his
It's
entrance
longer.
is two entrances.
It is.
With at least Cody, it's long, but it's one entrance.
Yes.
Jay does it again, pretty much. And it's so bad. Like, he's doing it in the middle of War Games. He did it in the middle of the Rumble. It's such a joke. And it's like, it's so bad. And his theme is bad too, because it's a Usos ripoff. And the crowd is into it, which is nice, but it's so stupid. And it's like, it's yeet. No.
I didn't even consider anyone else. It's a stretch to even for me to think about. It's Uso. I had to watch it on pay-per-views, so he wins. I have nothing else to add. It's easily maybe the worst ever.
It's pretty bad.
Yep, he wins. All right, next we go into worst non-wrestling performer. And 2024, we gave it to who?
It's Ava.
Yeah, we agreed.
And this was the last year we couldn't even pick Ava because she's gone now.
I know.
But we did pick Ava. There was Ava and Stevie Turner, so it's an NXT category.
Because we don't really dislike anyone in AEW. And we
Non-wrestling
don't watch WWE that much to comment.
No.
And I don't know, their non-wrestling people aren't the problem, I guess, because I don't... Like, the GMs are kind of ineffectual or whatever, but
the
they're
GMs are really like... They're so vanilla, I couldn't
That's what I
form an
mean.
opinion on them either way.
I agree.
If I tried.
Yeah. So
I really don't care.
Left us with a couple from NXT, neither of which are there, so I guess maybe they agreed they weren't good.
I picked Ava because I only ever see clips of her, and I don't know if I've ever seen her talk or interact with others like a normal human does. She looks so unnatural, not screen comfortable, and every week it boggles my mind that she's the spawn on the rock when she's so void of any talent or charisma. It may be harsh, but it's cases like her where the truth hurts. She's the ultimate Nepo baby because without her dad being uber famous and literally on the TKO board, there's no universe where she's on TV in a prominent role.
Yeah, she wins. She doesn't add anything. She never really improved. My favorite stuff from her is when she quit and was like interacting with them on social media and stuff, or saying stuff about them. On camera, it's like everything The Rock had skipped a generation somehow, right?
Maybe
like
if Ava has kids, they'll be.
So they
better.
tried her and gave her a ton of opportunity,
did they.
and she never became even good at. She was just like not good at
she
talking.
Couldn't wrestle. She couldn't talk. She couldn't act. She couldn't.
So yeah, she wins again. That's 2 years in a row, both of us, but
Yeah.
never again.
Never again.
Next category we move into is our most overrated wrestler of the year. And we agreed in 2024 on this one as well.
Yeah, we both took Jey Uso, naturally. Yep. He's back along with Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, LA Knight, Joe Hendry, Maxine Dupree.
Mm-hmm.
Honorable mention to the Hardys because people talk about them in their current like indie belt collector run, like they're keeping up and they still got it. They don't.
No, they're slow.
They're horribly washed. Shout out to Jey Uso because he's still widely overrated, but it's refreshing to see how many people change their tune this year, and that sentiment's still growing this year.
It is.
So I feel like
that
the overratedness is lesser.
I agree.
Well, I do hate Jey Uso the most, and even CM Punk more than others. I think the changing of perception in Jey exempts him from winning again, and Punk isn't always terrible. He's just usually fun. I just don't personally like him, and he's also bad half the time. However, based on what I see online, I'm going to say LA Knight is my most overrated. People still talk about him like he needs to be world champion. Like it's some absolute missed opportunity like WWE's missing out on. Did they have to do it this year or in the near future? Or like, I'll agree WWE missed the mark on fully capitalizing on him when he was red hot in like 2023. They really fumbled it. They waited too long to give him anything, and then they only gave him the US title.
Yep.
So he maybe could have had a run with the World Heavyweight title, but I don't think it's necessary to have him win the big one because when he was hot, he was going up against Roman. He wasn't being Roman. Even his US title run would have sufficed at the right time, but that came a year too late, and he lost it to Nakamura for no reason, then won it back and did nothing with it the second time. His in-ring work is passable, and he's pretty great on the mic, but that doesn't make him a destined world champion, especially when he's not as popular as he once was. He's a better pick for champ than Jey, but that says nothing because I'd rather pick a broom. He's a solid entertainer, but like people need to accept it ain't happening for him, and he's not that great. He's not undeniable.
I don't dislike him, but
Me neither.
people
Like,
talk about
hey,
him
there was
like
a time where I was on the LA Knight train because he
yeah,
was hot, and I'm not gonna deny that.
but people talk about him like he's undeniable
I agree. Like
somehow.
it doesn't make sense, especially now. Like he's back, and like people are like, "Oh, he should have won King of the Ring." No, I don't think either of these things are realistic. But I think if we're gonna pick someone who should have won that 4-way on SmackDown the other night, other than Jay, it should have been Balor.
Yeah.
Like I knew it wasn't gonna happen, but I love the idea of Balor winning King of the Ring and then beating Cody, and he finally wins another world title 10 years on from his last
Dream
world
on.
title. It won't happen, but like that makes way more sense to me than doing LA Knight because Balor's good on the mic. He can wrestle. He's more complete than LA Knight.
Mhm.
Yeah, LA Knight's got more charisma than Balor, but like Balor's just better in general. And I like LA Knight's not this undeniable megastar.
He is not. So I went a different route, and maybe it's the algorithm, but I see people, any little thing Maxine Dupree does, for a while, it was a her tremendous improvement. And then I watch her on
terrible.
occasion, and I see no evidence of this improvement. She struggles with the most basic things still. And even if she's wrestling somebody super talented, like it's just okay, right? And I don't think any of this is her fault. She should be in NXT to this day at this point, but she's on main roster.
How did she didn't even wrestle in NXT?
She-
That's the funny part.
I know she's not, and that's what I'm saying. It's not her fault. They've I don't know why they decided she had to be up here now. They gave her a mid-card title at some point, right?
She beat Becky Lynch for it.
So I think like because I just kept seeing all this stuff of how much improvement, and I never saw evidence. So she's my most overrated this year.
Mhm.
I like when we have different choices. That's entertaining. All right, so now we go to biggest regression. So who had
This
the
one's a
biggest
fun
sort
one.
of step back in 2024? It would be, and or sorry, in 2025. In 2024, we didn't pick the same. So who did
I
we
took
pick?
Jericho, you took Jamie Hayter.
Yes, I remember that.
Luckily Jericho wasn't around last year to really take the award again.
True.
This year maybe he might. I don't know. Is it really a regression now if he was really terrible last time? Like is he even regressing anymore, or is he just plateauing into he's constantly terrible?
I think so.
You know?
I just noticed that you have an entire program on
Yeah.
biggest regression nominee.
Our nominations are actually I'm gonna throw in one more
It's actually fair.
just for fun.
And that as well, right?
Yep. We got the New Day, Monday Night Raw, and Friday Night SmackDown. The Hardys, as I mentioned earlier, the Judgment Day, and Damian Priest. I think
Priest is a solid.
well, yeah, I do like.
He's
I
my
kind of
honorable
want to talk
mention
about a
now
couple
that
of
I
them.
hear
I would
it.
say Damian Priest is a great honorable mention because they tried with him. They tried a bit. He's just not that interesting.
He's not.
He's not that great,
He's like settling in where he belongs.
which is just above our truth comedy.
Yeah, he's like mid card guy, mid
He's
card
lower
heel,
mid-card.
or face, I guess.
He's still boring as base. And then Judgment Day, I think the Judgment Day one's really true this year because ever since like Balor left now, it's like obviously better for Balor, but like that group's such a nothing burger.
I know.
It's like I was saying to Everett, I think I love JD McDonough, and so I'm
Me
glad
too.
the group made him prominent. But now it's like it's not helping him. I don't know what he's gonna do without it. Like he's someone I'm surprised is still around,
He'll be
quite
released.
frankly. But and Dom doesn't need it, and now it's basically just largely a women's faction.
They just kind of keep doing the same stuff.
Yeah.
Forever feels like.
And then like Hardy's, like I said, are washed now. And then I'm gonna pick the New Day. They went from being a prominent, popular, although simple and sometimes repetitive babyface team. They were over and they were prominent and they were important. But they were often important to creative. They had one of the most captivating heel turns I've ever witnessed, and I will stand by that.
I loved it.
That's one of the best things I've ever seen. It was almost enough to make me pick it over Hangman burning Swerve's house.
It was close.
I thought about
Super
it.
close.
I did have it picked at one point. And they went from all that to being bland heels floating around the mid card aimlessly with none of their heel potential being capitalized on. I get Big E wasn't going to wrestle, so it's like kind of tricky, but I feel like they still could have done so much more.
Or anything. They literally just
anything,
didn't do
yeah.
anything.
They did nothing other than a blinking you'll miss it tag title run. It was a waste of a heel turn, and they've long regressed from not only that moment, but their babyface peak as well. And now they're not even in the company.
I know. I agree completely. I say New Day, like compelling way that it went at that moment, and then just like nothing. And then it took so long. Are they going to do anything? They're going to do anything, and then whatever they did with them was absolutely pointless. So WWE hates tag teams, so it's not surprising. But off of that turn on Big E, which was so incredible, to just not do anything, and now they're gone. So I think we were right in picking them because they're out now.
I guess so.
Well, the company said, hey, take a pay cut because we don't really want to use you for anything. And they were like, nah, we're gone. So, all right, next category is worst feud.
Last year, I took Jericho and Hook, that FTW nonsense, and you
Yep.
took Cole MJF.
Oh my God, that was easy one for me, I think, last year.
The absolute cluster that was. This year we have MJF versus Jeff Jarrett, Tony D'Angelo versus Stax, Moxley versus Copeland, Tony Storm versus Megan Bain, Storm versus Monet, and then Priest versus Black. I forgot that was a thing because it was on SmackDown.
Remember when at the beginning of the year there was like possibility of Jarrett title stuff?
Yeah, that's
and
what
then
it was.
It just
I
vaporized, which was amazing. I think everyone did because
I don't know. I saw some people. I feel like I saw some people interested,
but very rarely do things just disappear in AEW.
Yeah, because remember he faced Claudio. And he was like, "Oh, if he wins, he gets the title shot," and he just lost,
and it was like, gone forever. God. But anyways,
because it also felt like they were building a Jarrett MJF feud, which they canceled. Thankfully, I would have put Moxley Copeland as my runner-up, but I hate anything Jarrett was doing this year. And with the stuff with MJF, it didn't last long and didn't conclude in a match, so it gets a pass. Moxley Copeland was not good for a main event title feud and produced probably the worst AEW pay-per-view main event of the year. And I think it makes most sense for me to pick Monet Storm. I almost picked Mox Copeland, but I hate Storm's character so much, and Monet's lacks depth. So the combination of two characters who I actively don't like and who don't feel like realistic people was atrocious. I remember like we were watching this feud, and to contrast it to the absolute gem that they were doing with Hangman and Moxley in the build up to All In, like it was built to the biggest show. And I'm not gonna say that it didn't make sense to do Storm and Monet. They were the two biggest stars in the women's division. It absolutely made sense to do that match. But neither of them were real people. One of them's stuck in like a era decades gone by, and one of them's like a caricature of an arrogant heel.
Just a one note
right
heel.
Like I find that normal people look stupid opposite Storm and title feuds, and Monet is already bordering on caricature like, so the segments between them were questionable at best. I find Storm feuds are always tricky because the person working off her looks stupid, having to interact with her insanity, but Monet is also over the top, so it's just too much all around. Like there's just nothing tangible to grasp onto. It's like the Hangman Moxley thing, there was like a real normal issue there, and there was history. And with them, it was just, I don't know. It still delivered a great match. Don't get me wrong.
They did.
There's no indictment on the match. But that was never in doubt. The road to get there was just ridiculous, and I thought there wasn't a ton of depth in this one either.
I went a different route because I watch NXT every week and you don't. So it was Tony D and Stax for me. This feud dragged on for seemingly maybe literally months. Never cared about either one. Like I wasn't sure who I'm rooting for or anything. Tony D is like you're saying with Storm, right? He's basically a cartoon or a parody.
At least when he was doing the mobster thing.
And Stax I thought had potential, but he was never given enough to make anyone care, right? So no one came away better from this feud, I don't think, and it took up a lot of time. I had to watch it week in and week out, multiple segments, which is my favorite a few times. So worst feud of the year for me was Stax and Tony D. Sticking along that kind of line, we have worst storyline now. So who did we decide last year?
You took Cold MJF again.
Yes.
And then I took Jericho mentoring Hook. So we kind of doubled down on both.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's all in the same vein as our previous ones.
It is, right? Anyways, yeah, this time we nominated Jarrett's Last Ride, which is kind of what we were just talking about.
Oh, yeah.
The Steph DeLander PCO divorce.
Oh, my God. TNA rears its ugly head here.
Cena's retirement run, and then the D'Angelo family split, which is kind of what
Did I make you watch the STL?
I think so.
It was so bad, I'm pretty sure.
While I was far from an avid viewer of the main roster in 2025, I did keep up with everything that went on. Perhaps nothing this year got more attention and that was more important and more ridiculed than Cena's retirement tour. For someone the company calls themselves, they always call him the greatest of all time. It's baffling how they fumbled his final run. For someone who's like a Hogan level figure for many, they crapped the bed completely. First off, apparently they cut back his dates despite him being willing to work basically a full-time year. This would end up handicapping some of his final matches once he had no more dates on Raw or SmackDown. Next, they had Jey Uso win the Rumble over him. Next, while he luckily won the Elimination Chamber, led to one of the craziest heel turns of all time, they failed to back it up much like the New Day plan with a sufficient plan for a story. The Rock crapped out. Travis Scott ruined the main event. And then was so unreliable, he also dipped out. So Cena's left a bland heel character with little interesting motives because the people surrounding his motives were gone, and the key components of that turn, they were missing. I think turning Cena heel for his last run could have been amazing. I thought it was really interesting at first, and I was honestly kind of interested. But then they went about it in the most terrible way possible. Then he abruptly and lazily turned face the week before SummerSlam,
Right.
and then he and Cody tried to redeem their Mania disaster at SummerSlam. They had a babyface street fight, which is the weirdest thing ever. They wasted the match of the final round by bringing back Brock Lesnar, a highly morally questionable move, which resulted in a retread of the SummerSlam 2014 squash nobody asked for, with Cena getting no retort for that, and against Logan Paul, which I doubt was that bad. I'm not saying it would have been bad, but no one wanted Logan Paul to take up one of his last singles matches, right? Then, because he had limited dates, like I said, he had next to no build for his final pay-per-view match with Dom and his final match against Gunther. It was just a tournament, really. And even a great match of his run against AJ, which I thought was my favorite, got a lazy work shoot social media build where even one Raw segment would have done wonders, but obviously they couldn't because they didn't want him working so many dates. That match was amazing and special in spite of his last run, not because of it. And there was so much of his retirement run that felt half-assed or was the wrong call. And to mess it up for one of their biggest stars ever is a travesty, even if Cena's never been my guy.
Man, you had some thoughts on that one.
It did.
And I agree. I could have gone back to Tony D situation here, and that was, I'm taking the Cena heel turn as well. It had, like, the moment, again, which is, we keep saying the only thing WWE cares about. The moment was huge.
That was it, right?
And the New Day turn was huge. And then they just don't have any ideas after that. So none of it made sense. None of it was interesting. I agree with everything you said. It's the worst storyline.
I agree.
After that, we have least interesting wrestling story, but in real life. Just things that come up because we cover the news, and some weeks we struggle to find any news. So what was like the not even worst story, but least interesting?
Mm-hmm. Not last year, but 2024, we both picked the NWA TV deal.
Mm-hmm.
This year or last year, we picked for nominees. WrestleMania 42 going to Vegas. Gunther reported to be Cena's last match. Matt Riddle shenanigans. WWE announcing the ESPN PLE deal, and then WWE bringing back WrestlePalooza. I gave an honorable mention to the Vegas return, money grabbing TKO, more of that, but it was nothing compared to them announcing Mania 43 in Saudi. I think I have to pick the announcement of WrestlePalooza for the first ESPN PLE. I already didn't care about the ESPN deal because it's more money grabbing from TKO, and it also doesn't apply to us since we don't live in the States. But I thought even so, the choice to bring back an old ECW name was an odd, ultimately lame choice. At first, I was like, oh, neat, they're having a little pay-per-view to maybe start a new regular edition, and maybe it's nostalgic to some people. But the more I heard the name and said it, the dumber and dumber it sounded. I think there's a reason that name hasn't been touched since ECW went under. Even CM Punk made fun of it a bit, and I can't disagree. The cherry on top is that the show ended up sucking as well, and ultimately was uninteresting and a worthless news story, I thought.
Yeah, I find this category weird every year because it's like,
we're just talking about what was most boring.
What was I least interested in? I went with Mania 42 going to Vegas, just super unsurprising and on brand for TKO, like barely registered with me, so I guess that means it wins.
Yeah, I agree.
More interesting one here. We'll get into worst on the mic now. So last year, or 2 years ago, I guess, we chose.
2 years ago, what was it? I took Ava and you took Jey Uso. I'm surprised you didn't take Ava.
I did not, because Jey Uso was
my
pick for everything last year.
The first promo when he was Intercontinental Champion.
Oh my God, it was awful.
Mm-hmm. This year, Ava and Jey Uso are back, but they're joined by Darkseid and Hook. I think if it was me now, I would probably take Hook.
Yeah, I think you would.
Oh man, is he rough sometimes. I think it has to be Ava for me again. I don't watch NXT regularly or quite frankly ever, but I've seen enough clips of her on Instagram to have followed her work. And like I was saying before, she's just so awkward and unnatural and forced, and she's devoid of any charm or charisma. It just always baffles me how she's on TV every week. And her interactions with the roster are always iffy, especially ones with like talented ones like Ethan Page, and just the quality level is wildly unbalanced. It's more of what I said already. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's similar stuff.
It's Ava. For me, for you, I went repeat again, and I did make a note here that Cutler James has been making a push for early 2026 for this award. I went repeat winner. I watched Raw regularly for most of 2025, right? I stopped watching later on in the year. So yes, his placement on the card changed. He's not main event Jey Uso, ironically. He was still really visible and still spoke a lot and was still really bad almost every time. He just doesn't sound realistic or believable, or he just botches lines. He kind of did it all for me, so he's my worst on the mic 2 years in a row now.
He would be my honorable mention for sure, my
runner-up. Next, we have worst character. So who did we have in 2024?
2024, I took Jericho and you took Tony Storm. Both completely valid picks.
Yes.
Then this year we have Learning Tree Jericho again, Tony D and the family, and then Timeless Tony Storm. Thankfully, the Learning Tree died a long overdue death in the first quarter or so of 2025, so that saved Jericho and his boys from scrutiny this time. However, I still truly loathe that gimmick. My pick for 2025 will be highly unpopular, but anybody listening to us for a decent amount of time will know how much I've come to despise this character. It is Timeless Tony Storm. It's a character I also did enjoy in 2024 and one that you even picked, but Jericho was such an unbearable nuisance that he had to win then, and she wasn't without her redeeming qualities or segments then or last year. But a lot of the time that was thanks to Mariah May, who was not long for AEW in 2025. Like that was easily when I was putting up a Storm the most was with Mariah May,
For
right?
sure.
Without her, there's little about the Storm character that resonates with me, especially when she was world champion. She's an over-the-top caricature to the point of annoyance. She doesn't act or speak like a regular person. I get the gimmick is she's like an old Hollywood starlet, but honestly, I feel like at the worst times of the character, it boils down to double entendre machine who's like stuck in the past and retreading stupid crap. Like with the segments where it feels like she's trying to rattle off as many rhyming sex puns as she can within a minute span. It's like if she doesn't say 20 of them in a minute, she's gonna die. She doesn't feel real, and as a result, anyone has to play off of her. And if you comes off looking stupid for having to deal with her as a world champion, she should be building a segment for feuds and making the opponent look good. But when it comes to her programs, I look forward to the matches because I know she can deliver in the ring still.
True.
But the road to get there is rarely enjoyable for me. I know she's just gonna like make a goof of everything, and she doesn't feel real. She doesn't feel like a real person. So how can I relate to her? How can I get into this? You know what I mean? Like there's nothing to really go off of there. Her character is not one fit to be world champion, but even having slid down the card, I find her annoying, albeit to a lesser degree. She was so prominent last year that I really can't think of a character I like less.
Yeah. She was in the running for me as well, but I didn't pick her. I, again, felt like Jericho was gone for a bunch, right? So he kind of, again, fell out of our radar a little bit there. But even though the character disappeared near the end of 2025, I still gave this to Tony D. So he takes his second award sort of from me. He was just always on TV. It was one of those things that just wasn't for me, right? I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to see it multiple times. The tone, the presentation, just nails on a chalkboard to me. I was pleased when they finally made his character disappear for good. And he's back now and he's champion of the company and he's slightly different. He is different, but
At least he's not as
still bland.
Caricature though.
Yeah. So Tony D wins another award for me. We now move on to worst weekly TV show.
2024, I took NWA Power just from the clips I'd seen and reputation. I don't think I ever watched it much, ever. You took Rampage
because I wasn't hating Raw at times. I don't think so.
Well, this time it's only Raw and SmackDown.
Raw and SmackDown only nominees. Yep.
And I said, how could it not be SmackDown? Raw had periods of stink, but at least it was more often notable than not. Even if it wasn't always good, more things happen on Raw, and it had some good periods as well. At least like in, I don't remember when it was, but there were periods last year where it didn't suck. SmackDown's been irrelevant, creative purgatory for pretty much the entire year, and 2026 has not changed that, by the way. Other than when Punk or Rollins show up, or when Cody and Cena were feuding. I mean, Cena's WWE champion, which was a SmackDown belt, and he was on Raw half the time.
Mm-hmm.
They took it to 3 hours for more runtime and ads, and that was such a bad call. They had to revert back on it. The women's U.S. title hasn't been shown a shred of respect or care. Aleister Black returning got nothing to do. McIntyre and Priest got moved over there and immediately became less relevant. The new Bloodline / NFTs are extending their game long past the 18th inning. Carmelo Hayes can't get a push to save his life, and all the major angles, moments, and stars are on Raw. SmackDown only got AJ Lee's return because they were in Chicago, and that's the only place Punk's ever allowed to return. Even now in 2026, his rumored return, it's like, oh, next time they're in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
What has SmackDown got to show for this year? Not much. It's become worth not much more than Rampage was when it was running.
I watched a lot of Raw in 2025. And there were several weeks I enjoyed or mostly enjoyed. And then I would check in on SmackDown sometimes, listen to things, follow, keep up with it.
I also just think that Friday slot is terrible.
I was given no reason to tune in, right? I wasn't averse to tuning in if there was something good on, but then it's 3 hours, right?
Yeah, we watched that TLC match the week after Mania. We watched that and that was really good.
We'll find things, but when you're making it 3 hours every week, you're not going to get me. So not really worst in the sense that I watch it and I know that it was terrible, but the sense that it never offered me anything as a huge wrestling nerd that made me want to tune in even better than sporadically. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I went with SmackDown as well. So now we go to worst pay-per-view or PLE.
Yeah, this one's not difficult.
2024, we were
2024, I took Survivor Series and you took Bad Blood.
right.
This year we have Mania both nights, SummerSlam both nights, Survivor Series.
All WWE.
All Big Four.
Because AEW does not miss with
No.
pay-per-views.
Honorable mention SummerSlam, which did not need to be 2 nights. It had some good matches that I enjoyed, but the added length really showed at times. It felt like such a drag, and I still can't fathom the decision to make it 2 nights. Aside from maybe the Rumble, I pray we don't do this for more events. For me, I think it had to be Mania 41. As per usual with Mania, we'll be lumping both nights together as a complete package. I can't remember how I was feeling during the build this year, but the 2 Pillies in the run up to Mania were the best 2 of the year, in my opinion. Like Rumble and Chamber were great, I thought. So how they fumble Mania so hard is beyond me. I found there were a lot of matches that either didn't deliver in the build or the final match. I didn't like the build to Jay vs. Gunther. The match was made at best, and having Gunther tap out to Yeet Man was blasphemy.
Yes.
It was, however, funny that the guy with the nickname Main Event was the curtain jerker. New Day Warriors was extremely weak build, and the match was equally so with the predictable results. Stratton Flair was really messy and boring. The Cena Cody match was a terrible main event. There were a couple good matches. Like, you really loved the women's opener from night 2 and the main event from night 1, which is Roman Punk Rollins. I will admit I really liked that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just in general, the build felt uninspired and a lot of matches underdelivered.
Yep. Absolutely.
So yeah, it was Mania. Mania was pretty bad.
Like you said, I loved Rollins, Reigns, Punk on night 1 and Io Belair Ripley on night 2. So that was enough to keep Mania from getting that for me. I went back through my notes, and it seems that SummerSlam, and more specifically night 1 of SummerSlam, takes the award for me. Only one match got 3.5 stars or more, and that was Reed and Breaker versus Uso and Reigns. And was that the opener, I feel like? Right? So Jelly Roll, a bunch of below average matches. The Punk Gunther main event was disappointing. And in my notes, I gave that show a D+, so that one wins for me. I was pretty confident, and
I think that's
went
the
back
last
through
main
everything.
roster show I reviewed.
Yeah, so I haven't watched one in quite a while either. So it was bad. It wins worst PLE. Almost called it a pay-per-view. My mistake. Next award, worst promotion.
2024, we both picked NWA. This year it's WWE, NWA, and TNA. Isn't that interesting? I really thought WWE was rolling in 2024, and early into 2025 things were still looking hot, but heading into Mania and afterwards, things dropped off big. Creative felt largely stale over the year, which is again the case now.
Yep.
People constantly joked about the repetitive Raw format with the division always bookending, which they did constantly. Running the tally, they shoved Jey Uso in a position on the card not warranted by his talent. So far, the people finally started to turn. They pulled the wool over everyone's eyes with Seth Rollins' injury. They put WrestleMania back in Vegas after initially announcing New Orleans, and then put the one after that in Saudi. Punk went to Saudi after criticizing for years ago. They sponsored a match with EMF. They brought back Brock Lesnar. They hung Ridge Holland out to dry when he got injured in TNA on loan from them. They booked big moments like Cena's turn, Rollins, Heyman's turn, The New Day, Travis Scott, and not only failed to capitalize on the stories that followed, but failed to do anything productive with those. They shit the bed with the vast majority of Cena's final run. They moved his final match to DC because they paid more. They put logos on tables and ladders. They skyrocketed ticket prices, and as a result, have gotten lower attendances. They started the ID program and monopolized the indies, and already started giving up. They monopolized TNA. They monopolized AAA. Time and time again, they prioritize money over morals and anything else, and sickening. They also have gotten a crappier product. They have no morals or character, and they can't even justify it with a kick-ass product anymore. They're the worst.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. NWA should have this
That's
locked up
pretty much
because
everything.
it's terrible. But the year WWE had, they win. From the product they're offering just isn't interesting. Their corporate point of view, as you said. And I can say this as a 40-year-old wrestling fan. I've never watched less WWE than I do now, right? I don't really watch anything. I didn't watch WrestleMania. I don't watch Raw anymore. It has nothing to do with the roster. I want to make that clear.
I agree. There are talented people on the roster.
Totally fine. There's a ton of very talented people there, but the structure of the organization will not allow them to be used in any meaningful way. And I can't be the only wrestling fan out there that found 2025. It was like my tipping point, right?
I think it was a major tipping point.
You were gone earlier, but you also didn't have the investment in it, right? I've been watching it since 1986. When was WrestleMania 2?
Yeah.
86, right? So it was just a habit for me to watch it, and it's gotten really easy not to. So they have to win this award, and they do.
I agree. Because it just got so much worse and like morally terrible. And then it was that combined with like, I will say it, I've said it once, I'll say it a million times, 2025 was AEW's comeback year.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think it it's no coincidence that it's also WWE on a downswing, but like AEW just actually feels like they're trying to put out a good product.
Even though I don't do the ratings anymore, I actually checked on them. Like Raw is getting globally like 2.5 million views. That's not good. But anyways,
Especially not from where they used to be.
moving on, zooming in a little bit now. Worst segment of the year.
2024 I picked Jericho's first TV time segment. I remember that. I hated that.
Yep.
Just in that whole segment, like that, the talk show in general, but the first one was terrible. And you picked Jey Uso's first promo as IC champion.
So bad. It was
justifiable.
Amazing.
This year we have Jarrett teasing retirement from Dynamite on January 1st, Jarrett and MJF from Dynamite January 8th, Jarrett and MJF from Dynamite Maximum Carnage, The Rock on NXT New Year's Evil, Storm and Monet come face to face July 9th, Storm and Statlander face to face. What's the 10th month? October?
Yeah.
No, September.
Yes. No. October. Yes.
Okay. October 15th, Dynamite, and then Triangle of Madness promo, Dynamite New Year's Smash, literally came in at the buzzer. I'll give a shout out to the Triangle of Madness promo from last Dynamite of the year. It was brief, but I was audibly cringing the whole time, and it was genuinely terrible. It was so short and minor, I'll give it a pass, but it was terrible.
I'm not surprised.
They did one at the beginning of 2026 too. That's also in the short list.
Nice.
I was really
I like
close.
consistency like
I
that.
agree.
Yeah.
I was really close to picking Monet and Storm's face off from the Go Home Diamond before All In. It just did not hit for me. It was the world title feud for the women. Two over the top characters with little no realism. We went over this, right? It's been a while since I've seen or even thought about these segments, but reviewing my thoughts on them at the time, I have to cheat a bit and pick the Jarrett and MJF segments. I'm just gonna lump them all together.
That's fine. I think
I don't see the point differentiating the two, and I hated this whole feud storyline with Jarrett, so I'm lumping them all together as one thing I loathe. At the time I said I forgot to fill it in, but can I find, is this my 25 one? I might not have found it. I think I just got rid of it. It's whatever. I just remember hating it because it made MJF look stupid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's dealing with Jarrett, and then anytime he would insult him, Jarrett just got to like shrug it off like it was nothing for some reason. I don't know why he got to like play it off like this cool, nonchalant guy, but
is
like
cool. No,
I mean, I guess so, but it was so annoying. Is this my? Here it is. Okay, now I can find my thoughts on it now because I'm curious. I forgot to like throw it into the actual doc here. Where is it? Let's see. The first one was Jarrett was heavy on teasing retirement. I was supposed to be sad about it, but I was begging for him to retire, and unfortunately didn't. Went on way too long, dragging a retelling of his family's history in the business. Expressed desire to go after the world title, which is the last thing I wanted to see. Then there's one with MJF. Last fight story is meaningless and unbelievably unappealing. MJF looked dumb for having to act like Jarrett of all people might be someone worthy of defeating Moxley, even with his help. And the segment did him no favors, and I say the same for a full-blown feud. And then the last one was MJ was great. He had some great jabs, easily the most entertaining part of this. But his talent would be better spent anyone else. Jarrett's so boring and not entertaining. He spouts off lame lines at MJF that are supposed to be hard roast, but they're lame. And he's allowed to laugh, but when MJF burns him, he has to get upset. And it doesn't matter until MJF brings up Owen Hart. Yada yada.
My honorable mention: Storm and Statlander from October. I remember.
Really
I don't remember specifics. Just that I thought it was terrible.
It was bad.
But my winner was easy. It's Rock on NXT. And I, again, like you just did, I went to my like notes on this and just pasted him in here. I said, he seems to gap out and get lost, gets told he only has 2 minutes because he's lost and rambling, I think. He says F all that, but uses the full word. He eventually recovers, puts over NXT before abruptly hitting a catchphrase to end it. It reeked of a guy going out there supremely confident that he could just freestyle and be captivating, and the exact opposite is what we got. The fact that this absolute legend, who some consider the best on the mic of all time, came out and laid this egg was staggering to me. So it is The Rock on NXT.
I like that.
Worst tag team of the year.
Worst taking match.
Sorry, match of the year.
Last year I took Sting Darby versus Hobbs Takeshita. And you took TNA's Champion versus All Stars match.
Oh my god.
The nominees are New Day War Raiders, Mania Night 1. Paul Cena versus Jay Cody, Money in the Bank. Orton Jelly Roll versus McIntyre Paul from SummerSlam. I had to take the Paul Cena Uso Cody match for me. It was the main event of PLE, Money in the Bank, no less. And it was so unbelievably plotting and boring. I remember talking about it in review, and we just hated it. When Logan Paul's the most interesting work in the match, we have a problem. No diss to him. He's just usually not my favorite part of a match. There's also in the Pierce Cena's retirement run where he was a boring and directionless heel. That bogged things down more. It was a bland paint by numbers match. with offense and a pace so basic it harkened back to the Golden Era matches and not in a good way. I remember that's what we were saying in the review.
Yes.
The highlight was easily Paul's moonsault through the announce table, which looked awesome, but that was about all I can remember that impressed me. The only other notable part of this was R-Truth's return, which was part of that crappy work shoot. It was a true slog to get through and a waste of one of Cena's final dates.
Fair enough. I'm going to have to go with a match from my worst PLE, which was SummerSlam. Was it night one, I said? And it's Jelly Roll and Orton against Drew and Logan Paul. So you already talked about it a little bit at the time. So I went back for these and got some notes. Most of this was not great and surprisingly set up to make Jelly Roll the focus. That was one thing that annoyed me. And to be fair, he was willing and tried hard. Paul had a memorable spot and basically delivered moves to himself to help Jelly Roll. This was not an impressive celebrity wrestling display, and there have been some, Logan Paul included. There was a memorable spot in the middle, but I did not enjoy this and came away feeling bad for Drew and Orton. 2.5 stars on a major PLE with celebrity involvement. And this match sucked, so it wins. All right, continuing with worst match of the year. Now it's with the women.
2024, we both picked the women's War Games match. It was pretty atrocious.
Oh, so bad.
It looks like you picked that again. Okay, nominees are Jamie Hayter, Julia Hart from the Dynamite on January 1st, Mercedes Moné, Julia Hart from Dynasty, Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte from Mania Night 1, Zelina Vega, Chelsea Green, Saturday Night's Main
So
Event,
bad.
Athena, Willow, Statlander, Rosa from Dynamite June 25th, Stratton Cargill, SummerSlam, Women's War Games match, Survivor Series, and then Tessa Blanchard, Gia Miller, TNA Bound for Glory.
So bad.
Okay, so for me, I think when it comes to these worst matches, we tend to make a more conscious effort to put an emphasis on the stage these matches are on.
Yes, I do.
When it's less of a problem when or in the best of when they're all fantastic pay-per-view matches and the TV matches on AEW can be so good they get their own category. But here, when it gets bad, they get lumped together. I didn't like Hayter Hart from the beginning of the year, and there was no doubt numerous matches with Hart or Sky Blue, foreshadowing, that were not great. But the TV matches tend to fall by the wayside when the big matches suck. That brings me to my choice. I do think Cargill Stratton at SummerSlam wasn't good. It was pretty bad. A shining example of the Cargill experiment failing. But it doesn't live in the memories being bad as much as Stratton Flair from Mania does. I remember the build for this being rocky because they tried to make Charlotte the babyface, which was a terrible decision.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the controversy over that one segment where like they kind of went off script or whatever. I would argue that Stratton's character was not her peak when she was forced to play babyface. That being said, I had hoped the match would still be good because both women are good in the ring. At the end of the day, Charlotte tends to deliver, love her or hate her. But the match felt disjointed and clunky. They didn't seem to always know what they were doing and being slow and boring with a wonky pace. It didn't help that they were both blonde and chose to wear incredibly similar colors, making
Yes.
it hard for even someone like me to fully distinguish between them sometimes. That's why it's important to coordinate gear colors with the other person to avoid things like this. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but it does hurt the match a little bit. This is the main and women's match of the weekend, in my opinion. Considering Flair won the Rumble, and it completely whiffed on execution on the biggest stage.
I also definitely consider like the stage because if you think about it, Tessa Blanchard, Gia Miller was, and I would argue the Vega, Chelsea Green were probably the worst matches. But again, one's on like, was it Main Event? Or is that what that's called now? Yeah, Saturday Night's Main Event. And then the other one was in TNA. So I went with one that had a stacked lineup of talent and a major stipulation, and it's on a Big Four PLA, and it was still really bad. So I guess my second year in a row, it's War Games. Again, I went back and found my thoughts at the time. This match was very bland and will not be memorable for me at all, other than the fact that Lash looked really good in her very short stint. Io did the same spot she always does, which is impressive, but nothing new. The final stretch of this was more interesting, but not enough to make up for the 35 minutes of basic action. AJ did next to nothing. This had very paint-by-numbers vibes and seemed like nobody other than Io was really willing to do anything exciting. I will remember nothing from this, and it has to be a below-average War Games match. I think I gave it 2.5 stars. It had so many talented women involved, and almost nobody did anything. There's a War Games stipulation. They could do so many cool things, but they didn't. So to me, that was not forgivable. It should have been awesome, well below average, and because again of the stage it's on, it wins worst match for me. Last one in worst match category, worst match of the year for the men.
Last year we took for 2024. I mean, we both took Uso from Mania 40 because that was terrible.
Easy.
Your pick for this category makes me laugh a lot.
It happened early.
It's really funny to me because I kind of knew what it was gonna be. It's really funny. We'll get there. Anyways, first up for nominees, we have Zack Sabre Jr. Shota Umino from Wrestle Kingdom. Rare New Japan shout here. Claudio Castagnoli, Jeff Jarrett from Dynamite, January 29th. That's the aforementioned one where he loses. Copeland versus Moxley from Revolution. Jey Uso, Gunther, Mania Night 1. Paul Styles, Mania Night 2. Cody, Cena, Mania Night 2. Cena, Paul, Jay, Cody. It's so bad we had to get it again. Men's War Games from Survivor Series.
And I think you can see by the list of talent, it's a lot of like, he's really underdelivered. It's not so much that there's probably plenty of worse matches, but not on a pretty big stage many of these.
Absolutely. And you'll notice that AEW is not here much.
No, not at all. Well, barely.
Honorable mention to the Wrestle Kingdom match and Mox Copeland from Revolution. Both surprisingly boring and lackluster main events from companies that usually give me far better.
Yeah.
The Wrestle Kingdom one was so boring and uneventful and devoid of drama, and the Revolution match was uncharacteristically dry and boring for an AEW pay-per-view main event, not helped by following an insane 3-match parlay like I mentioned. As much as I could pick Wrestle Kingdom for being so boring, or Revolution for being in a feud I didn't care about and being a company I love, one match stood out as terrible for me and for many for the whole year, and that has to be Cena Cody from the Mania Night 2 main event. This was a match that had a lot of potential in the build when Cena turned heel, which was still a crazy moment. And at first he was interesting, but then he just got more boring, and he wouldn't speak when Cody came out. Like, you cut a promo, and then Cody comes out and he just doesn't speak, which I thought at first I was like, okay, maybe that's interesting. No, it wasn't. Then the match came, and The Rock had to be involved since he was at Chamber, and he wasn't. He was yet to be involved at all. The match was slow and boring, with heel Cena opting for the most plodding, methodical heel style that you've ever seen. Like, it rivaled prime Tribal Chief Roman. Nothing of note happened while Cody did his typical babyface comeback and, just typical tribe. And Travis Scott came in to ruin everything. A full 5-minute entrance in the middle of a match.
Yep.
For WrestleMania.
Just struts down.
This was how Cena got his record-breaking title win, too, in the lamest and most anticlimactic way possible.
It was really bad, but when is Wrestle Kingdom? In January, right?
Yeah.
So I had this category sewn up in the first month of 2025. No match made me more angry, and you can attest to this.
I know.
Than my winner of this award, and that is Zack Sabre Jr. and Shota Umino from Wrestle Kingdom 19. The very little New Japan I watched this year gave me this match, and I really like Sabre, and I had high hopes for Umino to ascend, and I think they did too at this point in New Japan. They desperately needed someone, so I was actually hopeful they did. But this match was infuriating. So what I wrote at the time, far too long, 40-plus minutes, way too many strike exchanges, Sabre not transitioning through submissions like usual. I remember, how he's the guy, like, it's like 7 seconds or whatever?
Yeah.
He wasn't doing that, and I didn't understand.
I do remember you pointing that
out. So much standing around and not following up, crowd disengaged. Umino just not this guy, I don't think. Incredibly disappointing main event of a huge show.
We're a year and a half later, and he's only won his first singles title now.
I really hated this match, just way too long. So it made me mad. Like, I was mad that I invested 40 whatever minutes in this, so it just stuck with me all year.
I agree, because 40 minutes investing that in a match isn't bad. Like, I literally just watched Cole Gargano, their first match, the 2 3 Falls one, for like the 12th time or something, and I love that match every time.
A 40-minute Zack Sabre Jr. match that you hate is not really what you expect to have happen. All right, now we'll get into our worst faction of the year.
2024, we both picked Learning Tree. They will pop up again along with the Family, the Dark State, and the Triangle of Madness. Honorable mention Learning Tree. They thankfully didn't stay the course, and they're still terrible. And I'm gonna pick Dark State. They tried so hard to make these guys something, but they whiffed it from the start. They were given lame names, lamer promos, and an entrance that had some effort but felt lazy and also just like kind of cheesy. The reports of WWE wanting them to be the next Shield did not help their perception in anybody's eyes,
Not for
least
you,
of all
especially,
mine.
yes.
At least they spoke more. As they spoke more, their promos got worse, especially when Cutler James had things to say. They all had pretty lame names, and the only guy people really knew before him was Dean Lennox, who was known for reading books and wearing glasses, so he was not going to be the leader of a cool group. This group has been so lame since they arrived, and I feel like that's even more true now. And now it feels like the effort's been dialed back, so they know they're never going to be anything remotely close to the Shield.
No, they are not going to, for sure. Triangle Madness are up there, honorable mention, but sometimes they are so bad they make me laugh, so I kind of forgave them. And they're not super prominent role, I guess. For me, because I watch NXT, again, it's a lot of Tony D. The Family win this award. They played a prominent role on a show that I watch every week, and outside of sometimes laughing at the stupidity of what they're doing, I got no real entertainment from any of it. Having an active Italian mob functioning on your, like, normal wrestling show
Yeah.
is just too jarring. Like they're making people disappear and killing people, so it just doesn't work. It took me out of every segment they were in, so they win this award, Worst Faction of
Mm-hmm.
2025. Next, we go to Worst Tag Team of the Year, moving into the big awards here.
Mm-hmm. 2024, I picked Awesome Truth, and you went TNA with First Class.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, who the heck is First Class? But that's AJ, Francis
Yeah,
and
and it was either Swan or Casey
Swan.
Navarro.
Probably Navarro, because I don't really enjoy him,
Mm.
but I'm not sure.
Nominees, we have Sons of Texas, Dark State in their tag team form, Sisters of Sin, Hardys, and the New Day. Seeing as Rhodes Guevara team wasn't super prominent in AEW TV and they're now disbanded, they don't need to be here. I don't watch NXT enough to justify picking Dark State, even though I just did pick them for faction, but that's a different thing. That leaves me picking Sisters of Sin, and it does feel fitting. But watch TNA or even NXT more, it'd be hard not to pick the Hardys. They're so washed and mobile these days, and the majority of fans don't seem to be in on that. They're so in denial. They're brutal to watch these days. Their belt collecting and knee run makes no sense to me because their in-ring work is so sad these days. I don't think very highly of either of the ring skills, but when I see one of them or both advertised for Dynamite, I'm the opposite excited because they don't tend to deliver, and we typically only get one women's match a week, so if they're in it, it's probably going to suck, even though I just liked a Sky Blue match this past
We did.
week. A lot of their work is sloppy, especially in the case of Julia Hart. It looks soft. I definitely think they get featured way too much considering their lack of talent considering their talent or lack thereof. It doesn't help that the witchy goth girl gimmick is not one Hart plays it with conviction, and Sky Blue isn't much better. There are occasions where they look solid to hit one or two moves that looks good, but I find them not good most of the time. They never blow me away when they don't suck, and their promos are terrible.
Really terrible.
So I'm picking Sisters of Sin.
I am too. I hate to do it kind of because they're young and they maybe have potential.
And because I don't want to have to pick AEW.
But I feel like I see them enough, and whether they're in the ring or in a segment, they're the complete anti-package, right? Like they
Yes.
can't talk or really work. Everything is fine at best or worse. I do laugh out loud at them sometimes, but again, that's not what they're going for. And again, Blues for sure. I haven't even seen Hart do much lately to say, but it's the connective tissue issue.
Yes.
Some moves look fine. A lot of the stuff in between and setups and just the way you move in between things is not. So I agree they were my worst tag team of this year.
Yeah.
Or last year, sorry.
Yeah.
Worst women's wrestler of the year.
2024, I took Anna Jay, which makes all the sense in the world, and you took Nia Jax, also makes all the sense in the world.
Solid picks.
I really like that. Now this year we got Julia Hart, Sky Blue individually, Jade Cargill, Nia Jax, Maxine Dupree. Oh, I didn't make a pick. I gotta make a pick. Interesting. I'd like to briefly mention Jade Cargill. I know WWE wanted her to be a success so bad. 'Cause, I mean, look at her, but she was always going to end up needing work. And maybe there's a reason she never did much in AEW. So they waited too long. And then there's a reason why they waited so long to pull the trigger on her title run in WWE.
I just saw a thing with an interview from her where she was talking about one of her worst fears in wrestling is her wig falling off. And it did.
I've seen the...
If that was real, I don't know.
You know what? Since I don't have it here and I see yours reasoning as well, I will pick Jade Cargill. She's bad. And I think to all rationale on the spot here, the logic for this and the matches is the same.
Yes.
Yes, Sisters of Sin suck, but like Jade Cargill's being propped up as like a main event
Correct.
mega thing.
Yes, she is like supposed to be the face of the division if possible.
Right. And she's terrible. She's like botching springboards, her wig can't stay on. Her promos are mid at best.
Yes.
She can't work. I feel like she's also kind of got a connective tissue issue.
Yes. So I said same thing, like profile within the company and the opportunities given versus her ability, right? That's the formula for me for this, and it's Jade Cargill. She can't get significantly better in this much time with the WWE machine fully behind her.
And you look at it, like she debuted in AEW, I want to say like 2021, 2022.
So she's had, and believe me,
it's been 5 years.
She looks like $1 million, so they would love for her to be good at wrestling at all.
I'm sure that'd be great.
But
she's not.
She's not. So her matches are average at best. Her promos are not memorable. They kind of all feel similar. She, as WWE loves, right? She passes the airport test. You'd be like, wow, who is that?
With the wig or without?
But she is the worst women's wrestler for me this year.
Yeah.
All right, our final category, and it is our worst men's wrestler of 2025.
2024, I took Jericho, you took Jey Uso.
Yes.
Makes sense. This year, it's both of them and Jeff Jarrett. There's not a lot. You know what? I'm going to just... John Cena, Cody,
adding a couple nominees as we speak
they
in
get to
real
be
time.
there just because I want to insult them.
Yeah.
Odd Cena and Cody here. If he stuck around on AEW TV throughout the year, I think it would have easily been Jericho. Thankfully, he finally took the hint, disappeared, seemingly never to return. Terrible thing I just said. Jarrett also had a short, unbearable run. Thankfully, it was short because if he went longer, he would also be. Oh man,
He
would
was
he
on
be there?
pace. He was front runner for
He
sure.
was front runner for like the first
Whatever
chunk of
it was.
2024,
Yeah.
2025. Sorry. I think the category has always belonged to Jey Uso throughout 2025. They gave him so much this year, and he fumbled at pretty much every turn. I still can't fathom the choice to have him win a Rumble, especially a Rumble I really liked. He barely had passable matches with Gunther. He botched a dive like Top Dollar. God knows how many times he half-assed or botched the spear. He actually slipped in a match. Bosch taking a neckbreaker from Punk. The tag match main event he was in at Money in the Bank was one of my least favorite main roster matches I saw all year. He got tired of forgot lines and promos. He's a meme for a catchphrase with a mind-numbing and overly drawn-out entrance. His singles run was such a failure. He ended the year back in the tag division with his tail tucked between his legs, and even that was a disappointment. Rikishi must be too busy with his controversies in his indie promotion to see the massive flaws in his son, because he praises him like the second coming of The Rock. But if it's one or the other, Jay is more Ava than Dwayne, so he wins here.
I agree. He's a repeat winner for me in the most prestigious of categories. I honestly think he's been exposed as a weak singles wrestler, which is weird because he's a good tag team wrestler.
Or was.
And he is kind of emblematic of the WWE for me right now. Lazy catchphrase, a contrived entrance, weak promos and matches.
Wrestling.
But he sells merch and the kids like him. So he's ultimately profitable for him to be on TV in a prominent role. So here he is, right? That's what we're dealing with in TKO WWE right now. He's a must-miss TV for me and any capacity on a wrestling program. So congratulations to Jey Uso, 2 years in a row, and you joined me this year.
I did.
We'll
see if that even changes.
3 out of 4. All right, I think that's wrapping up worst of 2025. Again, apologies for the delay, but hey, we've offered over 300 episodes of a completely free podcast and never asked for anything, so I think we'll just keep on releasing things whenever we feel like it. But anyways, we appreciate you listening to us. If you haven't listened to us before, check us out every Saturday. We put out a weekly show where we talk about AEW Dynamite and NXT and other stuff. We've got 308 episodes out there already. They come out every Saturday, so come back and join us if you can. And until then, everybody, take care.